The season debut of Reggie Aloysius Miller Jr. III. Hi, Reg.
Theodore and my Danettes. I love y'all. I hate our layoffs because so much happens in between, and I find myself like twitching. My fingers are twitching to grab the phone to call you guys and just kind of vent. But I'm so glad we're back on our normal cycle, and the NBA is back tonight. Arguably the best doubleheader I've been associated with since I've been working at Turner, because this has drama, flair, superstars, intrigue. Look, I'm just fortunate to have the best seat in the house tonight for everything that's going to unfold. I know it's only one game, and it's game one, but there's so many great storylines tonight.
McLovin, give Reg the poll question.
Okay, if you could have your choice of finals matchups, would you take Cavs-Warriors or any other combination?
Cavs-Warriors. And that's what it'll be, is Cavs-Warriors.
Who's the third best team?
I know people may be tired of seeing that 4 times in a row, but look, you've got the best stars in the business with Golden State. They're young, they're energetic, they know how to win, they're well coached, and they play the right way. They play a very pleasing style of basketball. They shoot threes, they great defenders, and then you've got the Cavs, which think about a finals team that had so much overhaul. You've got 8 new players, veteran players, Jeff Green, Dwayne Wade. I like what they've done. Kobe Altman, the new general manager, has done a great job of piecemealing this together to surround LeBron James with pieces that can compete. And you've got an upstart young team tonight in the Boston Celtics. Kyrie, he wants to spread his wings. He said that. That's why he wanted to be traded. He goes to an iconic franchise like the Celtics and gets the chance to lead. So we get a little bit of everything, but bottom line, at the end of the day, barring major injury, it's going to be the Cavs versus the Warriors.
What do you make of Michael Jordan saying you're going to have 1 or 2 teams that are going to be great, another 28 teams that are going to be garbage?
Well, number one of his teams will be one of those garbage teams. Just to let you know, MJ. But I thought he was being too kind. He said 1 or 2. No, it's one team. Look, Golden State, in my opinion, is head and shoulders above everyone else. And you see how everyone in the league has reacted to that. You see these superstars now wanting to play with one another to try to band together to go against that 4-headed monster. So to me, it's one team that is a super team that everyone is chasing, and everyone else on a given day may beat them. But remember, you've got to beat them 4 times in a series, and I just don't see anyone being able to do that, again, barring major injury.
What's the one injury, the player who could be injured, that will take down Golden State? So of the big 3, the guy they can at least afford, or the big 4 if you want to throw in Draymond, the guy they can ill afford to lose.
Oh, I would certainly throw Draymond in there. They are a legitimate big 4. And I've said this. Even if KD went down, they would still win the championship. Remember, they were 19-1 when he had that knee injury and missed a significant amount of time. Even if Clay went down and they just had KD, they would still win the championship. To me, if both of those 2 go down and it's just Draymond and Clay, then that's a different story. But even if one of those 2 superstars between Steph and KD are injured for a significant amount of time, they're that good. And their style of play, because they are so unselfish and they're well coached, and that'll be more time for Steve Kerr to be on the sidelines. I don't think he'll be missing as many games as he's done the last 2 years. I just think they're that good, guys. They really are. And for these other teams that with Chris Paul and James Harden in Houston, Melo, PG-13 in OKC, it's great, but they've got to form that chemistry. And until that chemistry happens, Golden State already has that. And they have chips. They understand how to win in tight situations. Well, these other teams, they're going to have to find their way. And until then, Golden State's just going to be cruising along.
TNT has a doubleheader tonight to kick off the season. Cavs and the Celtics. It's the Rockets and Golden State. Reg will be on the call tonight with the Celtics and the Cavs. We just brought this up. If you're a Cavs fan, how do you greet Kyrie Irving?
Well, I'm sure true Kyrie fans will applaud his 6 years. But for his shot, they never would have had a championship. So I hope people support and understand that. But fans are fickle, and when you don't want to play for us anymore, they can turn the light switch off as well. From what I understand, they are going to do a video tribute to Kyrie before player introductions, which I think is a class act for him, because he did do a lot of good things for this franchise, 4-time All-Star. And again, I'll say it, but for the fact that big shot in Game 7 in San Francisco, they don't win that championship. So I hope they applaud the efforts. But again, fans are fans, and I think once jump ball happens, he'll be a road player in an opposing jersey, and they'll boo, and as they should. That's what fans are supposed to do. But I hope they appreciate the time that he was here, and they give him a standing ovation, but of course they're going to boo. Not to the level of when LeBron came back when he was a member of the Miami Heat, but they will boo.
I was wondering this, Reg, if Kyrie has any indication that LeBron's not going to be there after this season, that can still be your team with pieces in place there, and you don't have to go to Boston. Do you wonder if that factored in? Because then it's his team.
Absolutely, but it was his team before LeBron got there while he was still in Miami, and they were cellar dwellers still. I think personally, and this is just me speculating, every game, good or bad, but mostly bad this year for the Cavs, every media member is going to come in and ask everyone on that team, well, you think LeBron is staying or going? Because LeBron has been non-committal. And I think if you're Kyrie, he didn't want to be attached to that every single game. Why do I got to be attached to LeBron James if he's staying or going? He wanted to get ahead of the story. And what's wrong with a young player kind of wanting to spread his wings? He wants to see what he can do on his own. Now, I kind of wouldn't be kicking dust as I'm on my way out the door talking about I'm playing in a great sports city now and, real fans and this and that, because that's why fans will boo. We understand you're in Boston. We understand that you're going and playing for a team that's won 17 championships, but we did a lot for you as well. So, yeah, it could have been his teams, but I didn't think he wanted to be tied to LeBron James' decision if he's going to stay or go with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Can you hold on? Can we bring you back for a few more minutes?
Absolutely. Come on, man. We're back.
What's the most?
The team is back.
I want to ask you, what's the most fun you had on your vacation? And then I want to ask you if you think something happens prior to or during the anthem tonight in Cleveland. We'll continue with Reggie Aloysius Miller Jr. III right after this. All right, Reg. What should we be looking for with the Lakers this season, and in particular, Lonzo Ball?
Well, obviously, the young players and their growth. Lonzo Ball, obviously a rookie, but Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, the leap that they hopefully will make, because to me that's how the Lakers will become a powerhouse again. Your young players have to make those huge, significant gains and get better. And I think, to me, once that happens, it'll be easier to attract the free agents when you see the internal growth of these young players. I know everyone's talking about they're making the playoffs, and the West is so loaded this year. And to put that kind of pressure on a rookie like Lonzo Ball, I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of those throwback players, a la Jason Kidd, where all he wants to do is get his teammates involved. So we'll see that. But I'm sure they'll take their lumps because they are a young team, but I want to see the internal growth of those young players.
But, Reg, is Lonzo Ball even the best rookie on his own team?
No, that might be Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to watch a lot of him while he was at Utah.
A lot of fun.
He's a good player. And at that size, he's a perfect prototypical player for the NBA. He can shoot it from distance, can play with his back to the basket, runs the floor like a thoroughbred. So he may not be the best rookie on his team, but he'll have the biggest impact, in my opinion, because someone has to get Kuzma the ball, and that's going to be Lonzo Ball.
Any word of a show of support, protest tonight before the anthem or during the anthem?
Initially I thought yes, because we live in a copycat society. But the NBA, the more I thought about it, we've always been at the forefront of whether it be racial injustice or social issues. The NBA has kind of always been a step ahead. So I wouldn't be surprised if probably more teams would probably have linked arms. Probably no kneeling. Not that I would have a problem with that, because I think the message has been lost on why Mr. Kaepernick has been doing it all along. And once the president got involved and talked about firing guys and kicking them out of the league, they made it more about the veterans and the military and the flag, and it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with racial injustice and police brutality, and that's the message I really believe has been lost on why Colin was kneeling in the first place. But I don't think we'll see any of that tonight. But I think most teams will probably be linked in arms.
What would you have done if you played in the NFL now?
In the NFL?
Yeah.
Well, number one, I probably wouldn't have been in the NFL at 185.
But
no, it's a lot of it's a lot of pressure. I see where Kobe came out and said he would be kneeling. That's coming from a military background where you respect the flag, but again, it has nothing to do with the flag. But growing up on the base, that's all we knew was liberty and God and our country, and you respect that at all cost. So I'm still torn, but what side of history do you want to be on? And we just, people want things right here in America. That's all we want. We want a seat at the table, and we want to be heard. And I hope people can respect what Mr. Kaepernick and these people are doing just to bring light to it. And I hope people understand it has nothing to do with the flag and the veterans and the military, because we all, and I personally, respect that growing up in a military household. But we just want a seat at the table and make things fair for everyone. Give people that don't have a voice a voice.
Give me the sneaky team this year.
I really like the Denver Nuggets out west.
Are they trying to be a miniature version, a smaller version of the Golden State Warriors?
They don't have the shooting Denver does, but between Nikolai Djokovic and Paul Millsap, two very skilled big men. And if their guards can get on the right page, Murray and Gary Harris, who just signed a big deal, they're a sneaky team out west. And to me, I know everyone's talking about Boston and Cleveland. Milwaukee could make significant gains if everyone can stay healthy. Brogdon, obviously Antetokounmpo. But this is the year Milwaukee could make that next step and be in the discussion of being an Eastern Conference finalist.
What's the coolest thing you did this summer?
Well, usually I would say my trip to Hawaii. I was there 2.5 weeks. But the coolest thing was filming that Uncle Drew movie for a month straight in Atlanta. I didn't think I would ever put the shoes back on and have a chance to compete. But to be a part of a feature film.
Wait, explain what it's about, Reg.
Oh, this is the Uncle Drew film based off of Kyrie's character, who Kyrie is the star of it, yeah. Uncle Drew, where I didn't like the 2.5-3 hours in prosthetic makeup every morning, but once we got all that on and actually had a chance, it's the old band getting back together. So it's Kyrie, Shaq, who plays Big Fella, Chris Webber, who plays Preacher, Nate Robinson, who plays Boots, myself, who plays Lights Out, a guy that can shoot but really can't see.
I like that. I like that.
And Lisa Leslie, Betty Lou, who's married to Preacher. So those are the principal actors, basketball players / actors, and we play like 75, 80-year-old versions of ourselves. And it is a hilarious comedy. And let me go back a second, getting a chance to be around Kyrie for that month. Let me just tell you this. You talked about will he get booed? Kyrie could care less, by the way. He doesn't give a
Yeah.
He is a very mature 25-year-old guy. So he wasn't fazed by he's not going to be fazed by what's going to come his way. He just wants to go out and ball. So he doesn't worry about the naysayers, people doubting him. He's a little bit ahead of schedule in terms of maturity. So
who was the best?
He's going to be ready.
Who was the best actor on set?
Oh, you're talking to? Are you kidding me? I was like the Daniel Day-Lewis of. Since he retired, I felt I needed to be a true thespian and be in character for the whole month. So
even off, even
behind
the camera.
As soon as I stepped off the van and I was on set, I started talking my old man voice like that. I was in character for a month straight. In respect for Daniel Day-Lewis's retirement towards acting.
Yeah, Seton.
We have a picture of them up. IMDb has a picture of them all in their makeup.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, they look awesome. It's hilarious.
June 29th, 2018, the film will drop in movie theaters. Trust me, it is hilariously funny. And the basketball, see, the good thing about it, C-Web and I took over all the basketball scenes to make it, because when you watch basketball movies, and you know this, Theodore, you'd be like, that wouldn't happen. That doesn't happen. We made sure that the basketball scenes were legit, so C-Web and I took it over.
Well, that's the problem.
All the plays.
White men can't jump. You're not doing that on a playground.
Come on. No,
right?
You're not. So we made sure that all the basketball scenes were legit. And, we go back to the Rucker League. Even though this was shot somewhere else, this is all supposed to be done in New York City in the Rucker League. So we made it look legit.
Shaq is so big, Reg. I tell people,
oh my God,
you can't, even when you see him, you know he's big. When you're next to him, I don't know if there's a bigger man on the planet.
And not only that, look at his makeup. That's a 7-foot Wolverine right there. That's Wolverine. That's a mutant. He is top mutant right there. Think about him coming out of his trailer looking like that, looking like Logan.
Who would be more valuable in today's NBA, you or Shaq?
I would. Shaq is a dinosaur. I'm not quite sure Shaq could play in today's game.
Wait. Come on.
He could, but he could. Hey, he couldn't be throwing those elbows around. We would just move Shaq away from the basket. Well, we tried to do that in the finals, and we all saw how that happened.
Yeah, that
so, you know what?
didn't work out well.
Let me retract. let me retract that. Shaq would be more valuable.
Really? I mean, Reg, you would average 25. I don't know. Would Shaq dominate, even though the game is not inside out like it used to be?
Man, you could not stop that dude. You could not stop Shaq. You couldn't stop him. And he was a willing passer, too.
Yeah. I guess I was giving you a little more credit that, you'd be raining threes.
But I would shoot 15 threes a game, and I think I would average about 28 to 30 points. 27-year-old Reg, not 50-something-year-old Reg.
Okay, 27-year-old Reg on the Warriors.
How about 27-year-old on Houston, too? I would average about 35 because all I have to do is run to the three-point line.
And you don't have to play any D in Houston. It's great.
No.
I love that.
No.
Okay, how does that work out? How does Chris Paul make James Harden and the Rockets better?
He will, because he will get in their face. He will demand excellence, and he will demand that they give that effort at the defensive end, because that's the type of leader Chris Paul is.
It's going to be weird, though, for Harden when you have the ball and you do whatever. I mean, he would just keep it. I think he had probably had more ball time than anybody in the NBA, even Russell Westbrook Jr. III. But I wonder how that does work when it's Chris Paul who has to lead the show, but it's James Harden's show.
The last 2 to 3 minutes of a close game for Houston, that will be the intrigue. And that's the chemistry part I've been talking about with all this player movement during the offseason. Chemistry is going to be huge this year for these teams and for these superstars that are starting to play with one another. Who's going to have the ball? Because, you just mentioned it. James Harden was spectacular last year down the stretch, but he had the basketball for Chris Paul to be successful, and what he's done throughout his whole career is be the setup man. He needs the basketball. The one thing that Mike D'Antoni has going for him the last couple of years, Doc had taken Chris Paul off the ball with Austin Rivers and Raymond Felton kind of having that ball handling responsibilities down the stretch. So Chris Paul can play off the basketball. We've seen that, but both of those two players need the basketball to be successful. That's what I want to see, is how they build that chemistry.
Reg will be on the call tonight. It'll be the Cavs and the Celtics, and then Thursday night it'll be the Knicks and the Thunder. Second half.
Melo versus his old team. I mean, seriously, how did I get these two gigs opening week? Are you kidding me? Are you David Levy? Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
David Levy, the head of TNT Sports. Way to suck up, Reg. Hey, great to have you back. Have fun tonight. We'll be watching.
Theodore Danetz, it's going to be a long, beautiful year. I can't wait for our weekly banter.
Thank you, Reg.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.